But what I was talking about, some of the people I was thinking about when I wrote that op-ed for Grayzone, I was thinking about some Grayzone contributors like Aaron Matei, who have been very explicit about how they don't want anything to do with anyone who has ever advocated for 9/11 truth. And Matt Taibbi being another one. Some people like that. He doesn't contribute to Grayson, I don't think, but just some of the people I had in mind when I was writing that particular piece. So it was disappointing that this is the piece that Grayzone chose to publish to commemorate 20 years of 9/11, considering that they're an outlet that frames itself as covering a lot of the egregious overreaches and human rights violations and other things caused by the war on terror. Obviously a direct result of 9/11. And so basically, based on David Sheen's conclusions here and what his tweets about this was an investigation where he essentially looks at the case of what is commonly called the dancing Israelis. But, obviously it's a little bit of a misnomer if you actually know much about the case, and the FBI themselves called them the 9/11 high fivers. Essentially, it's about 5 Israeli citizens in the U.S. working for a company determined by the FBI to be a front for the Mossad called Urban Moving Systems.
Max Blumenthal is a successful author who has written 2 books about Palestine. He is a member of a powerful insider family. His father is a close confidant of Hillary and Bill Clinton. In his talks and on Facebook, Blumenthal has been maligning Alison Weir, who has worked for justice in Palestine for 14 years. During a Q&A in Scotland, Max Blumenthal misrepresented a short talk Alison Weir gave on Zionist activities before and during World War I at the National Convention of American Muslims for Palestine.
Dedicated this panel before a mostly Muslim audience, mostly young Muslims in the U.S., to how secret Zionist cabals led by Louis Brandeis, the former Supreme Court Justice, got the U.S. into World War I.
Actually, she discussed only one Zionist secret society, called the Parashim. Her sources were books and articles by a mainstream Israeli professor, Dr. Sarah Schmidt, and New York Times author, Peter Gross.
David Irving was once one of the world's highest-paid historians. His books defending the Nazis and attacking established accounts of the Holocaust have sold thousands of copies and earned him a small fortune. In the process, Irving became the world's most prominent Holocaust denier. In 2005, Irving was arrested in Austria for trivializing the Holocaust, a crime in that country. Months later, he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, but served only 1/3 of that.
How did you... And the United States is trying to extradite Julian Assange and put him on trial here, close to here in Northern Virginia, and jail him for the rest of his life for the crime of doing journalism, of doing national security journalism. And jail him for the rest of his life for the crime of doing journalism, for the crime of doing journalism, of doing national security journalism.
He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, but served only 1/3 of that.